What is up, fellow summoners, and welcome to the channel today for another Alliance War gameplay video. This was 2 Loki's most recent fight over the weekend. Let's see, Saturday, finished it up on Sunday. Shout out to the Alliance that we're running against, ETLGN, 13.1 million rated Alliance, a war rating 2,000, just 9 points below us, so this is a very, very even matchup. So shout out to those guys. They were giving me some love down in the chat, which it turned out to be a very, very close war. I will not spoil anything. Well, we got a bunch of good fights recorded here. Got a mini boss fight for you. Running my normal team: Yondu, Magic, Winter Soldier. I did have an issue with Elgato. Had to cut out that first part there. So recording moving forward here, you haven't missed anything. This is actually the first fight that I've run up against. This is the unblockable special 2 node. And because things have kind of timed out well here for me, I'm going to be able to run a bunch of fights. So I figured now would be a good time to boost since I can use it. So I've got a 10% boost on there. This node I run into quite often, the hood that you see here, Doctor Strange sometimes. Outside of that, Dormammu I've seen a couple times. But yeah, most of the time right now, for whatever reason, at least down here in Tier 2, this is almost hood. Which, if you're watching there at the beginning, I was testing a little bit to see if he was running Mystic Dispersion, which he's not, so I was able to just evade as much as I wanted there until I finally baited it out. Which, remember, all you have to do is just evade the very first gunshot, then follow that up by just standing there and holding block. That's the first case there that Limbo has triggered and given me a little bit of regen back. You'll notice right there, there's the second time Limbo gives me the regen back. Which, that's one of the reasons why I always say, people ask me, should I rank up my Magic? Am I going to lose a lot from her Limbo not proccing? And my answer to that is yes. It may not seem like a very big thing, but as you can see, there it goes again. Pretty much every time I go into a bar of power, and I'm really, what am I at? Signature level 81, I think. That Limbo is always popping. So basically, you're invincible for a large percentage of the fight. You've got a degen, basically, the Limbo damage on the enemy that their willpower cannot trigger from. I think it's a really, really big deal to have her awaken. So that fight went well. Got him taken down. I used my Magic for pretty much that fight all the time. And then I also try to run it up here against this stun immune node, which if it's Mystic Dispersion, she does really well against. If it's Nightcrawler, Limbo has saved me a couple times as well. Now, the thing you'll notice is the fight has just started. I mean, I'm, what, 5-6 hits in here. And he's running suicides. And as you can see, he must have just like 1 point in willpower, because the damage that he is taking, even just from poison, is a huge amount. The difference there between, I don't know the math, 118 and 44 is probably like 70-something, which is actually quite a bit when you're talking about that amount of damage per second. Then you add on the Limbo damage that triggers that you see right there. Plus he's got recoil. So really I was just trying to just kind of slow play this one. Didn't want to get myself backed into too much of a corner. But there's just so much damage that he's taking right there from Limbo, from recoil, from suicide masteries. Just wait to get to the S3 and finish him off. Which if I would not have popped the S3, he would have been dead shortly after that anyway from the suicides. So as you can see, if you are running suicides, and I don't know the situation here with this particular alliance, but you really want to try to keep those defenders maybe to the outside paths that hopefully will not get taken, because it just makes fights so much easier to clear when you're running against enemies who have the suicides on. So next up, we have got the Thorns node, which I hate the Thorns node. Thankfully, I do have a Yondu, which for most fights, Yondu has been a really good option here. I'm looking at his profile. I see the rank 4 5-star Iceman. I'm thinking for sure this is going to be Iceman. So I am bracing myself here for a tough fight. But turns out that it is in fact a 4-star Mordo. Didn't want to spoil it. Which I really don't like Mordo on this node just because it takes me out of my normal rhythm. Normally I parry block and do a light attack because his arrow does not trigger the Thorns damage on you. But obviously when you're running Mordo, you cannot stun him. It just doesn't work like that. So I'm pretty much just going for a 4-hit combo here. Trying to get as many bleeds on him as I can, which I've got the heal block on. However, I don't think he's even running willpower, so it doesn't make a big difference. But Yondu is a very, very good option for this node. On top of all the bleed damage, as I mentioned before, all of the arrow attacks that you see right there do not trigger damage as well. So as you can see, I haven't taken any hits outside of Thorns if you play well, you can get through the fight with a lot of your health remaining, just because you get around so much of the Thorn damage with your arrow and with your bleeds. I think he's an underrated attacker. I use him pretty much every single fight, especially when I know I'm going to be running up against the Thorns node. Right here, this is pretty much always Hyperion or Magic. I was thinking about taking Magic, but because if I take this down, I'll be able to run the mini-boss, and I really want my Magic for the mini-boss. So I decided to bring in Winter Soldier, and fingers crossed that I was going to get a Power Drain, which if you get a Power Drain, this fight is actually really simple. However, if you don't get a Power Drain, it can be a little bit more difficult, and I kind of am living right on the edge in this fight the whole time. There's an opportunity. If he'd have just waited like one more second, he'd have gone into an S3, which wouldn't have killed me, which is one nice thing from having a 5-star rank 4 character here. But we got to go kind of all out here. I did switch to the Incinerate round. Thankfully, we get a Fury up. We get a crit there at the end, and we're able to take him out. Definitely, that node is much more difficult when it's a 5-star character, just because you're dealing with a much larger health pool. But yeah, there was a couple options there, or a couple times, I should say, where he could have gone to an S3, but we were able to bait out, and that fight could have gone a much different direction had I not been able to bait out those specials, which is kind of 50-50. Sometimes he will, sometimes he won't. All right, right here with the mini-boss, we're going in with about 14,000, yeah, 14,000 health. I don't even want to see who it is. I already know. It's going to be some sort of a mystic character. It's either going to be Magic, it's going to be Dormammu, it's going to be Juggernaut, Mordo, and we luck out, I think, with Juggernaut. I think he's actually probably one of the easier fights here. But the only thing that you have to deal with, because my ultimate goal is to just spam S2s together, keep him locked down in the corner there, power locked. You have to keep an eye there on the timer that's counting down. Once that hits 0, basically, once that runs out, it's going to take all of your power. So right there, I just barely got the power lock in before I was drained, which I've got a couple things going for me here. Now that I personally am running Mystic Dispersion myself, things like the Fury that you see right there with Juggernaut, that is also going to feed me some power as well. So it does help negate some of the issues that you have with Power Drain, helps you get more quickly back to an S2. And one thing I did overlook there, but Limbo saved me. Again, I can't tell you how many times that happens, really, until you see gameplay or you play with her as an Awakened character at a higher signature level. You just can't appreciate how often Limbo, and as I speak, there goes again, you just can't appreciate how often that goes off. And when you Power Drain, like right here, you'll see it gave me 1 full bar of power, so I go right back into a Limbo, get right back into an S2. So that Power Drain, along with Mystic Dispersion, is very, very powerful when you're trying to lock down characters like this. Essentially, this is the same kind of playstyle I used in Labyrinth of Legends, where you get them in a corner. Basically, you do a 4-hit combo, you dash back, dash forward. If they block it, just do 2 hits, 2 or 3 hits, whatever it may be, then dash back and come right back in. You can pick them up almost every time. Right there, I thought that was going to screw me up. We've got the... we needed to plug in. I got 10% battery life left. Yeah, thankfully we do take him out. Now, you'll see and you'll notice willpower has been ticking this entire time, which I think willpower, especially for mini-bosses, is a very big benefit. Ticking at, roughly around 100 per second, so... I'm not going to take the time to go back and count it all up, but I can't even imagine how many thousands of health points that he got back there just because of willpower. And may not seem like a lot, but it's just another opportunity for me to make a mistake and for him to kill him when you get a couple thousand more hit points per fight. So right now we're looking pretty good. We're as far as Battle Group 1 goes, haven't lost anybody. Really, it was Sunday. I was gone for most of the day. I came back in. I knew we got our Battle Group 1 clear. And we lost. I couldn't believe we lost. I'm going to go over here quickly and take a look. We had 90% exploration. We were well ahead of them. However, at the very end, they did clear one more boss. So you see 2 clears there, which is 20,000 points. So even though we had way more exploration, way more attacker kills, just because of that 1 clear, they did get us. They were even down a character. So big shout out to Eternal Legion. What is that, like a 1,500 points is what it came down to, something like that. Anyway, I feel kind of bad because I didn't even help in Battle Group 1 take down our boss. I still had all that health left. But either way, it's good to be able to record an Alliance War gameplay video. I hopefully will be able to get more of these out on the channel moving forward. They are one of my favorite videos to put together. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys have any questions, as always, leave them in the comment section below. You can follow me over on Twitter. The link to that will be in the description. All right, guys, till I see you in the next video. Have a great day.